My name is Patricia Rivera. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I am also an advocate against abuse for over 15 years through the Coalition Against Domestic Violence as a survivor.
Ms. Rivera, could you move that closer, please, the microphone?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm here testifying in support of Bill number H7613. All 5 of my children witnessed the abuse I sustained at the hands of my abusers for multiple years of my adult life. For each of them, the effects were evident in various forms. Some displayed extroverted behaviors of a violent nature, while others displayed subtle evidence such as depression and anxiety that often led to substance abuse issues and other issues. Some manifested in their studies, such as lack of concentration and or overachieving to compensate for the violence that they were witnessing at home. Some have become victims. From my dealings with other victims in my advocacy work, I also heard my clients speak about such similar behaviors with their children as well. Having had the experience with my own children allowed me to assist them in understanding their children's behaviors and referring them to the appropriate assistance. The voices of children who witnessed observations from their non-offending parents and others who work with them, in my opinion, should be utilized to be able to see commonalities in their behaviors in this study. From this, best practices can be developed so they can receive the proper attention in treatment, academics, and other needs as well. Unfortunately, since there's still not enough knowledge regarding witnessing abuse and the effects of it, it was very difficult for me to navigate the system that often misdiagnosed, mislabeled, and mistreated my children even further. Findings have already shown that children who witness violence are more likely to become victims or abusers themselves. Thankfully, I had enough knowledge about effects of abuse through my experience, unfortunately, with my children as well as through my studies in psychology, to be able to help them and not let them fall through the cracks, so to speak. There's a dire need for a commission of examiners to study the effects of domestic violence for many reasons, including, but not limited to, the ones already listed above. My own children, now adults, are still receiving counseling and other assistance, so as to be able to cope with the often lifelong circumstances that result from witnessing. It is imperative to understand the dynamics of the cycle of violence and the effects of children who witness if we are ever to end domestic and other forms of violence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Rivera. Mr. DeToy, Rhode Island Medical Society, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Rangel and Vassal, thank you for putting this legislation forward. I think you've heard from previous witnesses about a lot of very violent trauma that's been rendered on children, and I think maybe most of the educators in this room would agree that there are a lot of students who suffered through violence on the island of Puerto Rico and can't go to school right now. And so trauma can take many different fashions and different forms. It's not necessarily human on human. It can be nature. Our suggestion to the representative is that we should include a representative from the American Academy of Pediatrics here in Rhode Island and also a child psychiatrist to the list of members of that commission. And thank you again for putting this issue forward.
Mr. Connell, did you get that? Yes, good suggestion. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for these witnesses? Thank you very much for your testimony. Cali, Babbitt-Spears. From SOAR and RICADV. Welcome, Ms. Spears.
Thank you. Good
Please.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cali Babbitt-Spears. I am a mother of 6 children and a member of Sisters Overcoming Abusive Relationships. I am here today to urge you to support the bill of H7613. As a mother, I tried my best to shield my children from domestic abuse that I was experiencing. However, 5 of my children witnessed the abuse that I endured. They suffered then and continue to suffer now. I believe that the post-traumatic stress that my children experienced is playing a direct part of how they are performing in school today. The creation of this committee to study the effects of violence on children is urgent and much needed here. We need to start talking about the effects of the violence in our children. We need to take them seriously. And this committee is the right place to start doing that. I also urge you to include a member of the Commission of Domestic Violence expert, as I know my children are not the only ones who suffered the effect of domestic violence here in Rhode Island. Because professional that I have personally endured did not understand the trauma and the effects that this has had on my children, and they also haven't received the proper help that they needed. Many of the professionals have disregarded the effects domestic violence have taken in their lives. I am also hopeful that the findings of this committee would benefit the Rhode Island children and the many others who witnessed domestic violence. The findings could provide the necessary information to professionals, organizations, and services to better address the needs of these children. This commission, the findings and the recommendations can open the doors for real solutions to violence that has reached epidemic proportions. My children, our children, need this for their future.
Thank you very much. And are you here with a couple of your children tonight?
My babies.
They're very well behaved, so that's great. Are there any questions for this witness? Yes, Representative Ranglin-Vassell.
Question, but I just want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. I know how brave it is for you to come up and share your story, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. That concludes the hearing on House Bill 7613, and that